back with another Americana or 4th of July idea for you. I'm going to be using some items from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to call this a trellis door or wall hanging for the 4th of July. I'm going to be using this trellis from the Dollar Tree. I'm sure you've seen some other videos where they have been using this and creating lots of really cute ideas to hang on the door or on a wall. And I'm going to be using, I'm going to try, this might be a fail, but I'll still show it to you. This is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using this little hanging basket. And again, this is also from the Dollar Tree. It's a hanging wire basket, and it's got these little chains on it where it hangs from. But I'm going to use it in a different way on my trellis. I've also got some flowers that I got from the Dollar Tree, and they have some really cute combinations right where they have all the 4th of July stuff. And I got this little bouquets, or rather little bunches of, I guess they're like little daisies, sort of little flowers, and they're in red, white, and blue. And I got 3 little bunches here, little stems or bushes. And they're just called a bouquet. They don't have a name to the flower or anything. It just says bouquet on the label. And then also from their floral department, I got this little fern. So they do have some greenery, and I chose the fern because I thought it was pretty. Now I do have some fern here from another store that I have left over, but I thought it would be a great idea to go ahead and grab these so I can show you that they do have some sort of greenery at the Dollar Tree. I also have these left over from my last project last week, where it was a pack of 4, and I've got 3 left over, and I might use one of these. But I also got some little flags, little US flags, and it's a pack of 3, and I haven't opened it up to see how big it is, so I don't know if I'm going to use one of these, but I would like to. So, okay, well, it just say it says 11 by 6, so it's kind of big, so we'll find out in a minute. That's why I have the star, just in case. All right, I also have some ribbon, and I used this ribbon last week in a little arrangement, and I hope you remember it. It was just last Tuesday. If not, I do have this one from the Dollar Tree. It's really pretty. The Dollar Tree does have others besides this pattern, but since I already had some ribbon, I didn't want to make the purchase, but I just wanted to show you that they do have ribbon. I also got this garland with some stars, little metallic looking stars in red, white, and blue. And this is there's 25 feet in here. I doubt that I'll use the whole thing. And then, of course, I'm going to be using some reindeer moss, or you can use Spanish moss. I got these from the Dollar Tree. They're just leftovers. I feel like I have plenty of it to cover. I need to get some styrofoam, by the way. I don't have any out here, but I will get some. So just get a little piece of styrofoam. I also have some leftover greenery that I've been saving in a basket. So I'm going to be using some of that along with my fern, okay? So I'm going to be using that in case I need to fill, okay? In case I feel like I have too many empty spaces. Also, as my tools, I'm going to be using some floral wire. This is a 22 gauge. You can use 22, 24 gauge wires. I'm going to be using some floral pins or U-pins. I've got plenty of those. As always, my wire cutters, craft scissors. I'm going to be using my needle nose pliers. I've got my hot plate here with some glue in there. I also have my glue gun just in case, because I'm not sure which one of the 2 I'm going to use. Let's get this on high to get this going. There we go. Okay, so I think I've shown you all the supplies. The only thing I didn't show you was the styrofoam, but you know what styrofoam looks like, and I'll be showing you that in just a moment. So let's get to crafting. Okay, before I start crafting, one of the first things I like to do is I like to prepare all my supplies by removing all the tags, all the labels off of everything. So I've gone ahead and I've done so, and I've gone ahead and pulled out one of the flags, and I've looked at it, and I'm okay with the size, so I think I'm going to be using that. And also I've cut up all the bushes that I have with the flowers and the greenery, and I've cut everything at the longest point, and all the fern leaves, I've removed them from their little stem. So I'm going to go ahead and put all this aside. And I've got some styrofoam, and I've got these 3 little blocks. This comes from a package of 4, and I get this from the Dollar Tree. I only have 3 left because I obviously used one of them for something else, but I'm going to go ahead and use what I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue them together. Just a little bit of glue. Make a little stack so I can make one little block. And I don't really need that much styrofoam. I just need enough to insert everything, and just something like this is enough. So I'm just going to let that dry and put that aside. The one thing that I wanted to do with this is that I wanted to squish it down into something flat rather than something round, or rather kind of rectangular. I'm going to remove the little chain from here, and this is easy to remove. It's got these little clippy things, and I can just slide them off. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'd like to reuse them, so I'm going to see if I can. I think all I did manage to do was hook it back up on here this way. Okay. Remove that one. There you go. And now this one. And I'll probably end up putting them back. I'm not really sure about that yet. Let's put them to the side. And I'm going to get this one here, and it's got 3 of them. And I'm going to get this one, and I want that down in the middle. And in the meantime, I'm going to push down on this as much as I can to try to get it to get flat like that. Now, it's not going to be perfect. Obviously, the back of it ended up taller than the front, and that's okay. We just want it to be flattened on the back as much as we can. So I'm just going to bend these a little bit inward. The bits that are in the back here, bend them inward so they lay flatter like that. Okay, that is what we want. And then of course our styrofoam will fit just fine in there once we cover it up with some of that moss, and that's going to look really pretty. Okay, so now we're going to take our trellis here, and I want to put this kind of high up here, so I don't need these parts. These are the parts that would stick into the ground if you were going to put this in the ground. If you wanted to put this in the ground, and I'm going to give you a really good example. It's Memorial Day, and some of you have had family that were in the military, and if you have someone in the cemetery, then maybe you want to create this for them. So go ahead and leave these on here so that you can go ahead and put this into the ground at the cemetery and honor them with a beautiful arrangement that we're going to be creating. And it's not going to be very expensive. So if you do want to make it even more expensive, then go ahead and go and buy yourself better quality flowers if you want, or more, just more flowers. But really and truly, all we want to do is we just want to honor someone and put some beautiful flowers. So that I think this would be a nice, thoughtful idea for them. So you might want to leave this on here. I'm going to be hanging this on my door. I don't have anyone in the cemetery that I can take this to, so I'm going to put this on my door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off these bits. Now, if you can't cut them off, then maybe you could just fold them over if you don't have some good wire cutters, but I suggest you get yourself some good wire cutters. Your husband may even, or you may even have some in your garage, some really huge ones, and I have some huge ones, but I can just use these. These are just fine. I have some little bits here that are sticking out, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to sort of maneuver this because I want to wire it right here to this part and then right here to this part. So I think that's fine. Once this bottom part is hanging off, it'll cover this right here, so it's not going to matter. So we just want to go ahead and wire it. So I'm going to get some wire, some of my floral wire, and I'll get about 6 or 8 inches. Or if you have some, let me go ahead and get some of those, because it just occurred to me that we could use those. These little ties, little tie back things that you just insert in there and then pull and tighten. So let's go ahead and use that, right? Because these we can get them at the Dollar Tree. And I think that was like a package of 50 or so. I don't want to say it was more than that because I don't really know. Okay, so first I'm going to put this on here, but I'm not going to tighten it too much until I have it in the position that I want it. Okay, because if I tighten it all the way and then I can't move it, that's not very productive of me. All right, let's get this one on here. Isn't that something? You know, that usually happens to me. I start off with one idea and then it just completely changes sometimes, especially when I'm kind of coming up with something on my own here. Okay, let's see. We want this kind of centered. So right about here, and then we just tighten it. And we would be doing the same thing with a wire. We would be putting it on there and just wrapping it around. So there we go. That's going to stay. That's not going to come off. It's not heavy. The items that we're going to put in there are not heavy at all. So this is perfectly fine as it is. Once you've got it at the tightness you want it, go ahead and trim it. Let me make sure. There we go. And just throw these little lengths away. There we go. That is pretty tight. If you feel like you want to, you can grab a third one, or that you need to. And down here at the bottom, grab the bottom piece that's going on this, like this one here, the very bottom one, go under it and then between to the basket, and that center one that has a little loop on it. Let's turn this so I can actually zip tie it. There we go. And I'm almost there. Okay. Get that nice and tight. And then just trim off the piece. There we go. There, that's not going anywhere. It's not gonna flip up and down on me. The wind is not gonna be doing that. It's nice and secure on there, and that looks really cute. Look at that. It makes a cute little shape on here. I like the way that it kind of did this little, I don't know what to call it, like in Spanish it would be an onda, a little wave right here. And now I still have these two little bits, which we don't have to worry about because once we put greenery and such inside, this is all going to hide. But I was thinking that I wanted to use these chains. So I'm gonna go ahead and take two of those, and I'm gonna remove them off this little hook thing. But I don't wanna break it because this little hook could come in handy for something else. So I'm just gonna slightly open it and take two of those chains, put that one away. And I wanna see if this chain, yes it is long enough, I wanna get it from here to this up here. See what I'm doing right here? I wanna make it look like the little chains are also helping to hold this little basket. And let me see, yeah, there's a little bit here where I can actually open it, just twist it a little bit with my needle nose pliers, hook it back in there. You could use a little clip that's on there, but I don't want to use that. I don't want the look of that. So there we go. And then just close it back up. Make sure it's closed so it doesn't come out. And that's close enough. It's not going to come out because also this is going to get hidden a little bit. So I'm not going to see now what length I need. And I decided that this one here is where I can remove this remainder. And then tight. It's going to be tight. And then fold it back and close it. And that's where you have to use a little bit of muscle. This little chain, surprisingly enough, is quite strong. I have used these wire plant holders outdoors, and I've had them there now for a couple of years. And I bought them with a little coconut little insert where you can put the soil in, and they're very durable. And I've had them for a couple of years, and they've been out there. Look at that. That's what I want that little chain to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same to this other side. Okay. This is where we're going to take our time doing a little craft. And as a matter of fact, you can go ahead and use this one here to measure out how many lengths you had to remove. So then you can open this and pull that one out. Okay, let's get that on there. Put this around so I can reach and do this. There we go. If it gets bent out of shape, just get it back in place. And remember, we're going to have some greenery and stuff that's going to hang here, so it's going to cover that. You just want to make sure that you tighten this so that it doesn't slip out of here. But we don't have to worry about it too much because this isn't really holding the weight of anything, because this is already secured onto here. This is just a little decorative bit that we want. Kind of like those, you know, those drawbridges. They have the chains. There we go. So that's what I want. Okay, this one looks a little loosey, so I think I'm going to remove one more. Yeah, I'm going to remove one more. This chain may have had one extra link. I don't know. We're going to remove this one and just make it a little tighter. See, I can't get it out because I did a good job. Okay, now we can, I think. Come on, honey. There we go. Let me open up another link. If I had another pliers, it would be awesome. As a matter of fact, I do. Let me grab them. Okay, I'm back. Little pliers. It's going to be tight. There we go. And then we're just going to push it back to close it. And I'll show you up close so you can see where it's not perfectly closed. It is just closed enough so that it doesn't come out, because it's a little hard to maneuver. So don't worry about that. Just make sure that that it is closed enough so it doesn't pop out. And there we go. I think that's a cute little idea. It gives just a little something extra special. Okay, so now we're going to take our styrofoam and we're going to cover that up with some reindeer moss. Let me go ahead and get some of these floral pins here so that you can see them right here. And I want to cover at the bottom, the front, the sides. I'm not going to worry too much about the top, okay? So I'm going to take this reindeer moss out of the bag. I would have liked to use some Spanish moss. That would have been actually a little bit more desirable. So I'm going to do the bottom here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and use my glue gun, because this is the bottom and I'm not going to put any floral pins in there. I'm not going to put any stems or anything, so it doesn't matter if there's glue there. And I'm just going to take clumps of this and let that glue down like that on the bottom part. And just enough so that it does cover any styrofoam. Now remember, it is going to be at the bottom, so it just depends on how high you're going to hang this. You don't really need to cover it too much, but you know, we're going to go ahead and do so. Now, if you do have some bits that are still kind of loose, go ahead and use your floral pins to push that in. I'm going to remove some of this and put it more forward. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to cover the front and the sides. And not too much, because I am going to put some greenery and some flowers here. So I'm just going to take one little clump. That one's kind of pretty. I should put it in the front. Let's put this down here. Take one clump, put it in there. And in this case, I am using the pins and not the glue, because I don't want any glue puddles to keep me from inserting any greenery or flowers. Now, I had already opened these packages and used some of the moss from in them, so that's why I don't have a lot, but I think one bag would be enough, because as you can see, I still have some here. So we're now just going to put some on here. As you can see, I'm just going to like loosely tossing it on there, putting a pin, and then just grab it and then just shake off the excess. Anywhere you didn't get any, put some more and cover it up. And then you can just cover up some more as we go along. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to cover this whole bit and I will be back. All right, I have covered the bottom, the front, and the sides of my styrofoam, and I'm looking at it now and I feel like, well, I need a little bit more right here. So I'll just cover that up and a little bit more on the side over here, and there we go. Okay, you could use your hot glue gun on the sides too, but don't put too much glue, because we're going to insert some greenery and such from the sides, and this is what I have left over from one of the bags, so I didn't use it all. So I think one bag is enough. Okay, so now that we have this done, we're going to go ahead and put it inside our basket. And remember, this is the part that goes downward, because look, you're going to see it here. And we're going to put it right in there. And in order to get the styrofoam from not moving from its place, we're going to turn this around and we're going to insert some greenery pins from the back. And I'm going to put some glue on them. And this is where I'm going to use my little pot here to pick up some glue. Actually, I don't even have this on all the way. My goodness, it's just not melting yet. Okay, so I'll just use my glue gun for now. But we'll pretend that our little pot did have melted glue. We'll pick some up. Okay, so let's put this back up against this. There we go, right there. Put a pin right there. We need one over here, and that holds it really well. There you go. Let me show you right here, close up, so you can see where I put the pins. See that? And then if you feel like that's not secure enough, you can always get some of your glue gun and pour glue over that. Of course, you're going to need to let this dry now. So we're going to go ahead and let that dry really well. And then we'll turn it around and we'll start decorating. Okay, so I put my little basket to the side, let it dry. And I'm going to go ahead and start making my little bow that I want to put on my arrangement. And I've got this ribbon here. And let me see, I'm going to use maybe 2 yards of ribbon. 1, 2. Actually, there's a little bit left on it. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and use. So this is about 2.5 yards 2 yards of ribbon would be just fine. I'm just gonna cut the edges here. And I'm going to see how many loops I can actually get out of this whole bit. So I'm going to start off with a tail, and I want a little tail to hang off pretty well. So I'm going to do about 8 or 10 inches of a little tail. Pinch it together, always twist, and always make sure that the pretty side of the ribbon is upward. My pan is on now, and it's on really hot, so now I can turn down the heat on it. Okay, there we go. Push it over so I don't knock it over. Okay, so then we're going to pinch, make a little loop. This is about 6 inches. Grab it right there, twist it so that the pretty side of the ribbon is always showing up. Make another loop. Before you pinch and twist, bring them both up. They're the same length. Now we can pinch and twist. And I'm going to continue seeing how many of these loops I can get out of this amount. Keeping an eye on how much I have left over. And then these 2 loops that I've made in the beginning, these will help me decide how big to make these. And if you had a little ruler here, you could be measuring 6 inches, but you don't have to when you have your loops already done. They're all about the same size. Pinch and twist. I think I can get, that's good. So I've got 4 loops on one and 3 on the other. That's fine because it's going to be a little round bow. And I've still got this whole bit left. And of course, yes, I could get another loop out of that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one small little loop in the middle. I want a little poofy loop in the middle. So I'm just going to bring this around like this. And then just bring it over and pinch right here. And I want that to be my center loop, a little round loop. About 4 inches or so. 4 or 5 inches, pinch it like that. And that piece of wire that I had cut up earlier would be perfect right now. Here it is, 6 or 8 inches of wire. I've got this, but I'm going to leave it that length. I don't always make my tails the same length. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. And then I'm going to put the wire and twist my bow because I want it to get tight towards the bow to make sure those loops don't pop out. Okay, so now that I've got my 2 tails, I'm going to maneuver my whole bow and shape it into a nice round bow. So just bring your loops out, fan them out. The one that was in the small one that was in the middle, just kind of poof it out right here. Wait, which one is it? I lost track. It's that one right there, the one that I have right here. Okay, so because it's almost the size of the other ones. Okay, let's make a round loop like let's make a round bow like that, these ends coming down, and we want to put this on our arrangement, and I want it right about right here, hanging off on the right side. Now, why am I putting my bow on there first? Because since my bow is right there, I don't need any flowers right there, so I don't want to waste any greenery, any flowers in that area. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bow on there now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a greenery pin and tie the wire ends around the greenery pin. Can you see that? Okay, so just wire them around until you've used up all the ends of all the wire. If you feel like you've wired it enough and you still have ends left over, just grab your wire cutters and trim off those little edges. And now we're going to put some glue on here and insert it. Now, if you want to keep this and change your bow and change your flowers and for another occasion, then don't glue it. Just go ahead and just insert it in there. Okay, so then you can pull out the bow and use a different color bow later, or maybe you don't even want to put a bow in there. It's up to you. But then again, I'm going to be putting this on my door for outside, and I don't want any of these items to fall off, so I'm going to go ahead and glue them on. Okay. Because it's styrofoam and this moss is so inexpensive, I don't mind if I just have to take that off and just put in some new one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shape my bow again, and I'm not going to worry about really keeping the bow shaped too much, okay? I just want to see, once I open up my little loops, how big it actually is on my arrangement, so then I know where to place my flowers. And there you go. It's a nice bow right on there. It's not so small. It's actually kind of nice size for this particular basket. Look at that. All right. What I'm going to do to my ends You could cut them at an angle like this, or you could cut them straight. But I like to have like these little dovetail, or I like to call them little snake tongues. So that's what I do. I cut them like that. So you just fold them in half. And from the folded edge up to the wired edge, I like to use wired edge ribbon. If you don't, well, just the edges. And there you go, just open it up. And then you got those little dovetails, or I like to call them snake tongues. Okay, and then you can just shape your tails however you want. Okay, I'm constantly cleaning, excuse me. There's going to be a lot of this little moss falling off. So there you go. This is already prepared as a container to get our flowers in there. So that's the first thing we want to do. After we've done all that, the first thing we want to put in there is some flowers, and then we'll worry about filling it with greenery. So I'm going to take one of my stems, and I want it to be pretty high. See, because I want to keep it at the longest bit. So now I can pick up some glue, and I'm not going to stick it too far in. I want it to be pretty high on my container. And now I'm going to go ahead and put some slanted towards the sides. But I want to push these in a little bit further because I don't want them as tall as this. I kind of want to create a triangle, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. So this one is inserted at an angle. If you have to trim it off, trim it, because you don't want any of it coming out the bottom over here or on the back or anything like that. And I do have a little bit of one of them coming out the back, so I'm just going to trim it. No big deal. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We've got those flowers on there. Now, it's not a very distinct triangle here, but here we go. And there's a triangle forming. And I'm going to put some more coming out the sides. I think I need to move this camera a little bit further so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I just moved the camera just a little bit so that you can see right here where it's kind of going to form a triangle, and I want it to go across here. So I need another flower coming out this way, and I've got 3 little bushes, so I've got plenty of flowers. And this is a big trellis back here, so I do want to get as much as I can into it. These I'm going to go ahead and trim them off, because as we saw, the other 2 that I did not trim kind of came out the back, and I don't want that happening again. So I'm going to put these right here, push that one further in, and trim it back here. There we go. This one's kind of short. Okay. And I'm kind of going behind the little chain to insert it, but inside, but behind this little chain is where I went to insert those. So there you go. There we have a triangle forming right here. So now I want to put some flowers coming out the front, and then I want to fill in the middle because I want to keep that line. So let's get some with some blue, because I do have a lot of white here. Actually, I have a lot of blue here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to substitute this red and blue one for this. Let's see, which was the longest stem? This one is. I'm going to substitute it for this one. Let me tell you a little trick. Let me go ahead and do that with this particular stem. When you're cutting off these other ones and you're making them shorter, and you get little pieces like this left over, and you have a piece like this, it's not quite long enough, or it's not, you know, like all I can stick into the styrofoam is that little tiny little bit. Look, let me show you the part that right there. That's all I was able to stick in there, and that's obviously going to come out so easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them together, overlap them about at least an inch, and then I'm going to take my greenery tape, and I'm going to tape around to give this stem some more length. And we're not going to worry about that greenery tape because obviously it blends right into the green of the stem. See that? So I've added some length now to it. So if you have one that's not long enough, you can use pieces from the parts that you've cut off, you know, on the ones that you wanted to make shorter, and make it a longer stem, which is what I just did right now. Okay, let's see. I'm going to get a blue and red. Now I'm going to stick this one up here in the front. And then you can just kind of bend them a little bit so they come forward. One over on this side over here. And this one, I'm going to trim it as well. Put it right in the middle. Let it come forward there. And then just fill in the rest of the arrangement right in here, okay? So as you can see, I've already formed a triangle going across like that. So now I just want to fill in, make a nice full arrangement. Oops, not too much. You can see it getting fuller there. Okay, I've got lots of flowers, so I'm going to fill in some more back here. And I'm not even worrying at this point what colors I'm grabbing. I'm just filling in. I've got a few more flowers, and I want to go ahead and use them all up. You could put some coming out of the front here, but I don't want to do that. I want to use them all in my basket. There we go. I think this is looking really pretty. Wow. I'm really liking it. There's more red than there is blue. I just noticed that because, or white, because there's red and blue and there's red and white. Okay, I still got two more. This is looking really nice and full. As you can see, you could make this shorter and make it even fuller, because if you shorten them up, of course, you're going to be closer together. And remember, I did get 3 bushes of flowers. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to put one coming down from the side of the basket here. And then I'm going to put another one kind of popping out over here. And I'm only doing that to balance out, you know, like the bow. So there's what I did, okay? I inserted these 2 off the sides here. There we go. I don't want to hide these chains, so don't put too much up here and hide these chains, otherwise there goes all that for nothing. Okay, so now let's put some greenery and fill this in. And I've got some viney greenery here. Let me see. I want to use this one or the green. Let's see. I think I'm going to use this leftover green. I've got a 1, 2, I've got 3 little vines that I can use from that. So 1, 2, and 3. And that's nice because remember, I also have the fern. Oh, there's a little bit there. The rest of it is a different looking greenery. And remember, I do have these ferns that I also want to put in there. Okay, I do have a little machine and I should have grabbed it, but I'll do that in another video. I have a specific item that you can put some picks on here to insert them, but I'm just going to show you how we can do this without all that fancy tool. So I'm going to get this nice, I think this is the longest piece. Yeah, I'm going to take this long one here. They're the same. I'm going to take this longer one here, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did to the flower. I'm going to grab one of these pieces that I cut off the stems of the flowers, and just give this some additional length. If you feel like you want to put a little bit of glue in there between the 2 of them, let it dry first, or wrap it up real quick with a tape. You can do that. A little more stability. And I always tape beyond the 2 parts where they meet. Always tape beyond it so that you make sure that you've got it all taped well. Okay, so there we go. So we added all this extra length right here to it. All right, so now I'm going to put some glue in that, because remember, this is a trellis back here, and I'm going to go way back behind that middle flower and just kind of twist this around the trellis a little bit, because it is a wire bit, and just twist it around so it looks like it's growing on the vine, on the trellis there. Okay. I am going to take another piece of this that's kind of a long stem here. I think I'm going to put this right here in the front somewhere. I'm going to trim it a little bit, take that off, put it right here in the front, in the middle of the flowers, just to fill in that little space right there. These little bits, I'm going to put them on the sides in a minute. I kind of want to extend my trellis a little bit, my vine. So what you can do is just move these out of the way. Let's hook it up onto here. And I'm going to take some tape. Oops, I need the scissors for that. Where are you? I've got a little mess going on over on the side here. Quite a mess. I'm going to take this, turn it around so you can see. And right on here on the black, just like this wire that's over here, where I also have that other one twisting around it, I'm going to put some floral tape. You could tape it onto that other stem before you actually put it on here. Make one long viney stem. Of course, that didn't occur to me till after I put that one on there. Okay, so I just want some of this vine, and then just press on that tape real good. Make sure that's all on there and it's not coming off. Okay, so now it's extended. That vine is extended, so now I'm just going to fold it, kind of curve it a little bit so it looks like it's now going to be grabbing on. And I'm going to put it from behind and forward here. There we go. Just so that it looks like it's actually growing on the trellis, and then it's kind of curving a little bit like that. Okay, now I'm going to take these little pieces and put them in there as well. Up here in the front, I'm going to tuck one right behind this bow to help those loops kind of stay upward. And one here in the middle in the front. Okay, now we're going to put some ferns in there. I don't want to hide too much of this moss here. I like the way that looks inside the basket, so I don't want to hide that. So now we're going to take these and we're going to insert them, and because they don't really have a little pointy stem, they have this little bit here where they were holding on to another part of the bush. I'm just going to trim that off so that then I have a little stick that I can insert. And in order to make sure that I have enough of that, is I'm going to cut some of these leaves off the side. So now I have a long stem on here. Those little bits. Okay. And I'm just going to insert them on the sides here into the styrofoam so that they're in there and they're draping out and downward. Let me get that in there. There we go. And fold it downward so that it's draping down. I don't want to cover this little chain. Okay, so that's what I did, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. And then I'm just going to fill in a few more down here, without covering the moss, and I'm going to put some more on the side over here. And then I'll probably put a couple, like maybe behind these flowers back here. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. You can put these wherever you like. Cut off that little knob, and then cut off some of the leaves. Insert that into the styrofoam, bend it. Some nice long ones here that I'm going to insert behind those flowers. I feel like when my desk is dirty like this that you can't see what I'm doing because there's so much on it that it's just hiding the work. I like a nice white background so you can see. Okay, now behind these flowers here, insert another fern coming out that way. Let's do one on the other side. Again, I'm going to trim off that little knob because that won't help me insert. I just kick everything off the table and then I just sweep it up later. Okay, now I'm going to do one behind these flowers over here without hiding any other flowers. Stick it into the styrofoam. Can you see that? Right here. Put one right here. And then the two that are on the sides, right here. I'm looking into the camera to see. So sometimes I don't grab things correctly. There we go. So I'm just going to fill it up with just a few more little bits of fern. And then, of course, I'll have some left over for another project. So that's all I'm going to do. Excuse me. Shaping up my bow, that's all I'm doing. Making sure it stays fluffy. Okay. I'm gonna add just a few more bits of fern, which is almost the whole thing, really, the two. I've only got two left, or actually three. So I'm just gonna use the whole thing. That was 2 little bunches of ferns, by the way, and 3 of the flowers. I think I mentioned that, but just in case you forgot what I said, or I don't know. There we go. Just repeating it again. All right, let's see. I like this long one. Oh, I don't want to use my good scissors for that. Actually, now that I've cleaned up a little bit, I found my craft scissors. There we go. And I dropped them. Save some time. Okay, I'm going to put this last piece of fern right in the middle, right in here. Kind of where I put that other greenery. And just stick it in as far as I can, so I just have a little bit of that sticking out, you know, through the flowers, just so that it breaks. You know, the flowers are a little bit bunched up right here. So I'm just breaking through them by adding some greenery there. Okay, so that's it. That's what I put together. So now I just want to decorate my arrangement with my little garland and some of my little star possibly, and the flag. So let me go ahead and fix this camera angle at a different, so you can see a little bit more. All right, so I've got my Americana wall and door for arrangement for the 4th of July. Almost complete here. This actually could be complete. You could use the same idea for any occasion. As I said earlier, you could leave the 2 little stakes that were at the bottom so that you could just stick this into the ground and just make sure that all the weight is down here and not too much is up here on the top, because you don't want the wind to kind of blow it down if you have it outside at a cemetery, or even if you wanted to put it in your front yard, just into the ground somewhere, or in a pot that you might have outside that might have some dirt and maybe the flowers aren't doing too well, but it's still full of dirt. Use that pot, put that in there, and then put it at your front door. So now you have this a little higher than being on the ground. Anyway, we're gonna go on and we're gonna continue decorating this because I do want to put a little flag in this and I want to make it more decorative. So I've got this garland, and I'm not a real big fan of too many shiny things, but I'm gonna use some of this because, you know, it is an occasion now. Memorial Day, you probably don't want it to be all too sparkly and shiny, so you could leave this part out, but you could use it for the 4th of July. So this is going to be titled for the 4th of July. All right, so I'm just going to cut a piece. I don't really know how much I'm going to need, but I'm going to cut a piece. Since it was $1, I'm not going to worry too much about it. And I'm just going to go ahead and take one of the ends, and I'm going to go somewhere here under the bow. And this wire that's down here on the basket, I'm going to wire the end around of that. So let me just, insert that in there. And then just twist it around. Sorry, let me get this so that you can maybe see that. I went ahead and the wire that's right here, I just twisted some of this garland onto it right there. And then just bring it around. Since it's kind of curved a little bit from where it was rolled up, it just naturally wants to go in every direction. So just intertwine it here and there on your trellis, and then the end, just grab it, and there we go. Okay, so that's just a little bit of sparkle on our 4th of July trellis, or what did I decide I was going to call this? I decided that I was going to call this a wall or door trellis decor, I guess. There we go. All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and put the little flag in there because I do have the bow on, you can't see that, because I have the bow on this side. I'm gonna put the flag on this side right here. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna go somewhere behind these flowers. Make sure I actually get it into the styrofoam. You don't have to put any glue in it. That way you can pull it out if you want. And I'm just going to drape it across like so. And there you go. And I'm going to go ahead and add this little star just because I wanted to make it really festive. But I'm going to cut this little stick nice and short. And I'm going to insert it so it's kind of sticking out behind that bow. And it's got these little ribbons on it. I'm just going to let that drape over the bow. So I'm just going to, let me move these loops out of the way and insert it into the styrofoam there. Get it in there. Wait, let me go through the top. There we go. A little harder to get that in there because it's a thick kind of it's a straw. It's actually on a little plastic straw. I'm just going to fix my bow so it doesn't look so crushed from all the movement, and remove all the webs of glue from the hot glue gun. And just drape these little ribbons over the bow. I think that makes it look even more festive. There you go. That's what I did. So there you go. I have finished my arrangement on this little trellis. I think it looks really pretty. I hope you like the idea of using that little hanging basket. And since it's not so hard of a little metal, you can actually bend it down. So just do it very slowly and carefully so you don't get this really crooked item. And as you saw, it wasn't that hard for me to do. I didn't have to use a lot of force. I mean, I didn't even have it close to me where I could use a lot of force. I had it kind of away, so it wasn't a big deal. All right, and there you go. I hope you like my arrangement. I hope that you will make it as you also make sure you get to your Dollar Tree soon, because some of these items like the 4th of July stuff and the trellises are kind of going, but you can find little trellises like that, like at Walmart, etc. Little garden area of the stores that do have garden areas. You can find little trellises like that. If they're not too expensive, you can certainly use them in the same idea. And of course, these little wire hanging baskets, you can find them all the time at the Dollar Tree. But as you all well know, sometimes some of these items you can't find them. So just be creative and use your imagination as to what else you can use. And I hope this has inspired you for that. Give me a big old thumbs up. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so, and make sure that you share your social medias. Oh, and don't forget to leave a nice comment down below. As always, enjoy.